All right. How is everybody?
Doing well.
How's that sun? A little too much? No, we good?
You're good. You're glowing.
I'm glowing.
We rarely see it anymore, so I'll take it.
Yeah, there you go. For sure. All right. Welcome, everybody. Wednesday night, This Fan's View. We got Lauren, we got John, we got Carl.
Yep.
Anthony is sitting this one out because he's playing baseball with the AA Reading Fighting Phils.
Yep.
You got the call. Put me in, coach. Playing center
Put
field.
me in, coach. Speaking of Reading, John and I were talking about call-ups today, and I just read that Anthony Keaton, do I have his name pronounced properly? He was called up to Keaton Anthony.
Yeah,
Like,
it's the other way around.
Is it the other way? That sounds like my dumbass. Keaton Anthony was called up to AAA Lehigh, and he is the first baseman, John.
He was the one that was.
We were talking about that either yesterday or today, whatever. But anyway, he was called up. So, yeah, good luck to him. He's another one of those free agent signings to Philly, undrafted, much like Otto Kemp.
Yeah.
Went undrafted, and he's made his way through, four levels now. So good luck to him.
Yeah.
All right. I got a couple of things, but I know, Johnny, you want to update everybody on fantasy baseball?
Sure, we can do that. You don't want to do the updates right tomorrow?
No, go ahead and knock out fantasy, and then we'll proceed.
All right, we got week 9 results. Joe Tomzak was still at the top there. He's got a little bit of a hold on the first place at the moment. It's a lot of changes. Like I wanted to make sure I got everybody's up on the leaderboard, for week 9, and since we missed it last week with the great show there with at the Buffalo Wild Wings last week. So, and then we got week 10 results. Joe's back there. Scotty Black took a big jump up there. He's in number 2 spot now. Chris Lambert, he jumped up in he's 6th, I believe, there. So I know he watches. Ball down, he jumped up he's tied for 2nd there as well. And Jason's always hanging around as well in 4th spot. So it's going well. And
looks like the O'Briens were well represented there too.
Yeah, some of us were. Some of them were. Yeah. So,
all right.
Yeah, going well. And
well.
Yeah, everybody's hanging with Bryce Harper. So not many people are doing the change with Bryce Harper being out this week. Was the one update. So everybody seems to love their Bryce Harper and keep keeping on to him. So
okay.
Yeah, so everything's going well there. Everybody's responding quickly, which is good to see. So everybody's still going strong, and that's why the leaderboard keeps changing as much as it does, because it's a close matchup and got everybody hanging in there tough right at the moment. So good to see.
Good.
Yeah. So even if you're not on those leaderboards, there's not next week you might be right there with a good week. So there's a lot of changing going back.
All right. And you got it all figured out, right?
All figured out on the spreadsheets. All those Google spreadsheets.
Very good.
Oh yeah.
Lauren's got
Remember when you used to put it all on a yellow tablet?
Uh-huh. Now times have changed. Well, we've been trying to figure it out, and this old dog figured it out how to put it onto a spreadsheet and make it work. So many have tried, and unfortunately they weren't able to come about it. And got one more step to perfect it, but we're good where it is right now. So.
Our number 1 fan, Joe Stinger's first on the board. Welcome, Joe.
Yeah.
Welcome, Joe Stinger. One thing we were talking about prior to going live here. Reading's doing their Hall of Fame announcements tomorrow night. One of the key members is third base coach of the Phillies, Dusty Watham. Super cool guy, super nice guy, super down to earth. So congrats to him. Along with that is Darren Ruff and Trevor May.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember much about Trevor May. I don't think he had but a sip of coffee here in Philly. Correct me, John, if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think he was actually traded before he got up to Philly.
Was that the deal?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think he got traded.
Okay. But he had a nice major league career.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever won in no World Series rings or anything, right?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay. All right. So kudos to those three going into the R-Phil's Hall of Fame. That's pretty cool. Probably even cooler is the Roger Maris bobblehead that they're giving away Thursday night. Pretty cool. He goes back into the 50s. He didn't play for the R-Phils, but he played at Baseball Town. Do I have that story correct?
Yeah, so he'll be in a Reading Indians uniform in that bobblehead.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Very cool.
I also heard that there's a Hall of Fame T-shirt for tomorrow night.
No way. Is this the first time ever?
No. They did one for Rollins, Howard, Ruiz. So
okay.
They also haven't done a Hall of Fame induction in a few years.
Right.
So
are they having all three guys on the T-shirt?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, so all three guys. It's just a big logo on the front with all three names. In the past, normally it's just one bigger guy that's going in. So for Ryan Howard, it just said like Reading Phillies on the front.
Yeah.
And then on the back,
yeah, I think I have those.
His name, and then on the sleeve was the Hall of Fame.
What color? I always got to know what color.
I don't think it's a color you're gonna like.
That's what I was afraid of.
Yeah.
I was afraid of that.
Normally, any last minute shirts like that tend to be on the lighter side.
Yeah. Okay, moving along.
Trevor May went to Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
And then he finished up with the Mets too, right?
Well, he finished with the Mets. Well, he finished technically with Oakland, but I don't know how long he may have stayed there.
Yeah.
But he was there for a little bit, so I guess he was 49 games. So he probably had,
Okay.
I'm really not sure what the Trevor May connection is, to be honest. How they landed on him. We'd have to ask Anthony.
He might have had a nice little career in Reading. You know what I mean?
I would assume so,
Sure.
but I don't know. Normally there's a connection with the three guys. They don't just sort of like randomly pick.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what those three have to do with each other. Like when Pat Burrell went into their Hall of Fame, like 4 or 5 of their guys went in with him, but they were all like teammates or connections he had when he was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
It was like who was the other guy that was drafted? Not prepared. But I know, didn't Mike Costanza go in that year with Pat?
Did he? Okay, I'm not sure.
I think. And then there was another Phillies.
Eric Valent.
Eric Valent, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Yeah.
Eric Valent. Yep, thank you.
Jason Michaels.
Nick
Punto went in that year with Burrell.
Very cool.
What year was that, John? Do you have an article up?
No, I don't. I was just going over it was funny. I was just going over those plaques that I'd gotten from the Reading Phillies and organizing those. And
Yeah.
I think it was like 2015, 14 or 15.
So it was right before my time.
Yeah, it was either 14 or 15 because of that was the last ones I had. One of the last ones I had of it. And yeah, there was like five or six of those all those guys, for Burrell's time. But I don't know if 2012 would probably be a little bit young for Dusty Wathan being in Reading, but
he was there a while.
Yeah.
He was there a while.
I know he was down at Lakewood as well at before. So yeah, I didn't know because maybe him and Darren Ruff and Trevor May I think played together on a team, and I don't know. Dusty may have been a part of the manager at the time or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, for the Reading Phillies faithful, having Dusty back and going into the Hall of Fame is a big deal for them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, him and his wife, everybody loves them, knows them. I mean, it's going to be a pretty big homecoming tomorrow night, which should be cool. And from my understanding, they have a few surprises up their sleeve, the team. So.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. So.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Reading's got a big. This is a big week for, I guess we'll call it promotions, because it's Taylor Swift night, right?
Mm-hmm. That's Saturday night. Yep.
Saturday night. And what are they giving away Saturday night?
Nothing. They don't give anything away Saturday night. That's a mega blast.
There you go.
Fireworks night. There will be some Taylor Swift themed T-shirts and some hats. So those will be very popular, I'm sure.
Are they also white because they're last minute?
No, I don't think so, but they're definitely a light color.
Okay.
Yep.
Not that I want one. I'm just curious for the fans. That's all.
I don't even personally want one. I'm not as much of a Swiftie as some other folks. So what's on the front of them doesn't really resonate with me that well, but I'm sure folks who know her and love her will love these T-shirts. So
Nice.
Yeah.
And then Father's Day on Sunday, there's a Hawaiian shirt.
Yes. Yep.
Make
Okay.
sure you get there early to get the Hawaiian shirt.
That's right.
They're a hot commodity.
They are a hot commodity. I think this is their third Hawaiian shirt of the year.
Yeah, I was going to say, because wasn't their opening day was a Hawaiian and Mother's Day?
Yeah, well, so the Mother's Day crowd was upset of last year's Father's Day Hawaiian shirt, because they're like, we want a Hawaiian shirt. So they did a Hawaiian shirt for the mothers, and then I guess it looks different. It's a completely different Hawaiian shirt, but went with that again. But I also heard that the Phillies are giving away shorts on Sunday for men.
Yes.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That is very difficult to size for, I would imagine.
Yes. Yeah, the people that are right there just inside the gates are going to be working overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Can I have an extra large instead of the small?
All right. Tonight is a big night for Schwarber's Neighborhood Heroes Block Party at Yards in Philadelphia. Tickets were available to the public. It's a sold-out event. So Schwarber does a phenomenal job. I think he's done it every year that he's been here in Philly.
Yes.
So from that standpoint alone, he needs to be friggin' re-signed. Just from that standpoint.
Absolutely.
Forget all the home runs he's hit here. Do you have a number of how many home runs he's hit as a Philly? Do you have that number, John?
Yeah, it's probably like 152 to 153 at this point.
Yeah, that's just another reason why he needs to be re-signed.
He's got as many home runs that he here as a Philly that he did in his previous
everywhere else
combined.
Where else did he play? Chicago,
Washington, and Boston.
Nice. Yeah, just one more reason to stay in Philly. He's got a sold out, event tonight. Hopefully all of his teammates are there supporting him. And when I say all, I mean all. I mean all of them.
They all go out and help him out with that. And, it was nice that he went yard himself today. So.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. I led you into that, didn't I?
You did.
You got it. You owe me one.
Yep. You threw out the bait, and I took it.
Yep, exactly. So kudos to the Schwarbomb, for that. What else do we have on the calendar? There was something else. A lot of it was Reading related, because I know that just spending the weekend with Anthony. I know he was a nervous wreck about getting back to the office on Monday, because he had such a busy week. And I was in the back seat. I heard the chatter up front, and he was like, I got it all under control right up to Thursday afternoon. And I'm just like, poor guy, he worries about all his sponsors and everything that's going on, and
absolutely.
So we don't have him tonight, but he's holding down the fort in baseball town, and kudos to him. We probably won't have him next week either, right? Because there's another back-to-back homestands.
Yep,
right.
Which is why you were hearing the freak out a little bit on the drive to Pittsburgh.
Sure.
Back-to-back homestands tend to send that front office into a tizzy.
It's a little heavy on the stress level, right, for everybody.
If I hear one more time that there's 12 games in 13 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
And let's hope for no rain.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. That's the schedule. They do it again in July, I think. Towards the end of July, there's back-to-back homestands again. At least, I mean, a while ago, their schedule used to be sporadic. Sometimes they would have 14, 15, 16 straight games.
Yeah.
Now, at least, it's Tuesday to Sunday. It's always Tuesday to Sunday.
Yeah, when they reshuffled the deck and they got off on Monday, and that was very considerate of them.
Yep.
So, all right.
Well,
So
you guys mentioned a little bit. How was your trip to Pittsburgh? Other than the games,
wet with a capital W. Every time we got out of the truck to go somewhere, it decided it was going to pour.
Yeah. Friday was a little wet. Wasn't terrible though. Friday we sort of woke up to a thunderstorm happening, but then it cleared up and it was okay. The game was delayed by like an hour and a half, I think, that night. Right. Walking to the game from where we parked was a little rough. And then Sunday morning it rained, but it stopped just in time for the game. The game was only like 15 minutes delayed. And then it just started raining as soon as the game was over.
Yeah, it was interesting because they talked about that on the game on Sunday. They actually thought it was going to be a night game. The way the radar was looking initially, and then it all opened up and said, "Nope, you guys are gone."
Then it poured all the way home.
Right.
It poured all the way home.
Yeah, that last half inning when the Phillies were batting, it started to rain.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good weekend. I don't know how much the fans enjoyed it. I know this fan didn't enjoy it. They won the first game, right? Or no, they lost the first game 5-4, and then the next two were 2-1. So, there wasn't a whole lot of offense.
No.
And
you got to see Paul Skeens pitch though. So.
Yes, we did on Sunday. Yeah. Just had a friend over to drop off a couple of posters to get framed. He was out at the Open, the PGA, yesterday for a practice round, and Paul Skeens was out there.
Really?
Yeah. Walking around, Chris George said nobody even knew who he was. Chris George goes, "I know who he is."
Right.
Yeah. So pretty cool.
Wow. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Yep.
I bet they would have known his girlfriend though.
Well, I said that to Chris. I said, did he have his are they married? No, they're not married, are they? No. Yeah. Liv something. Livy something. Whatever. He said no, he was with a couple of buddies, probably a couple other players.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah. So, where are we at? Phillies baseball. Man, they're scuffling. They're scuffling big time.
Yeah.
Just not getting it done. And I'll be honest with you. I know a lot of the Phillies fans are talking. It's because Harper's not in the lineup, and I get it. I understand. I get it. But I kind of equate it to, like the Sixers when Embiid wouldn't be in the lineup. They found a way to win. They played a different style. They played a different brand of basketball. And I'm just like, man, you guys got to get over this. You got to move on, Yeah. And, he's going to be gone for probably a while, it sounds like. I don't have any information, but it's not an injury that's going to heal anytime soon because apparently it's lingered from last year. It didn't heal till just about the time he was coming back to spring training, and he probably aggravated it again. And then, he gets nailed by, on his elbow, and that probably just sent a shockwave through his whole body.
Yes.
So, but they just need to, they need to move on. Today was a good example of moving on. They figure, I'll be honest with you, I'd like to switch up from Bohm back to third base and put Renato Kemp over at first. I like that. Don't ask me why, but I like it.
Well, it just brings back stability.
Well,
that you're not changing things up a lot.
And Bohm's back at his natural position, and I mean the guy had 4 hits. What do you have? 3 hits, 4 RBIs today.
Yeah.
So he felt more comfortable, right?
You would think.
So,
he had a home run. So that was nice.
You're right, Joe Stinger. Someone needs to step up. You're 100% right. They just got too many guys. They remind me of a team just playing flat-footed and just not into it. I mean, out in Pittsburgh, they just seem so lackluster. Like, they didn't even they mailed it in before they even got there.
I think the fans were into it more than the players.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, it was nice to see Luzardo, bounce back today.
Again, we talked about it, right? More stability. He's got his regular catcher behind the dish. So that sends a better message for him.
And don't take light of that either, right? Having a backup catcher there versus JT, it's
we talk about these things all the time.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Lauren?
So if someone needs to step up, who is that in your opinion? Do you guys have a player in mind that's sort of like next 1 and 1A? There's a president and a vice president. So if Bryce Harper is president, who is the guy that moves into that role now?
Well, I think it's a twofold situation because Schwarber's already your home run hitter. I think it's Trey Turner and Nick Castellanos. They're the other 2 guys that really and Trey has started to play much better.
Oh yeah.
His offense. I don't know where it came from, but I hope it sticks around for a long time.
Well,
so
if you remember, it was there last year though too. Before he got the hamstring injury, like he was back over 300, last year as well. So
yeah.
So is the guy who steps up, in your opinion, the guy who's playing the best on the team? The reason I ask that is because I look at a team like the Pirates. I know those names because I hear them all the time in my house. But most people, a common baseball fan, probably doesn't know most of those guys' names on that team. But Andrew McCutchen is their guy. He's the veteran. He's the presence in the locker room. He's the name. He's the voice. But I don't equate that to playing very well. I mean, he's not a bad player, but he's obviously aged. And yeah, he gets hits and home runs and things like that. But he's not like the best guy. I would say that's probably O'Neal Cruz. But if you ask me who their veteran guy is and who their leader of the clubhouse is, I'd say it's Andrew McCutchen. So do the 2 have to be the same?
Right. Yeah.
I don't think so.
That's a good question.
I don't think so. I mean, I kind of agree with your dad as far as, Castellanos and Turner being the next ones to step up. Because Schwarber's taking over the Harper role, and he's going to get pitched differently, and it's going to affect him a little bit. He's going to have to get used to that, not being pitched the same way as he was prior to Harper being in front of him. So that he's pressing a little bit, and you're seeing him strike out a little bit more than we're used to right at the moment.
Put a good swing on one today.
No, he did. And hopefully, it's a couple of days now, being used to that, and you start getting guys behind them starting to hit. And it's hard to say. And really, to be honest, I think it's really more so even Nick and Turner. It's that bottom of the order has got to start, getting on base a little bit more to be able to turn the lineup around, give some more excitement. And having Stott down at the bottom and Kepler had a good couple of games the last couple of days. Having that bottom of the order give you energy. I mean, Rojas is still just Rojas. He's not giving you anything right now.
Do you still hate him, John?
Oh yeah. He's just got to go.
So were you disappointed by the poll you put out that everyone wants Brandon Marsh gone?
I think, I guess. And there hasn't been, it was more. I was more disappointed that there's. I guess it's more of people haven't answered it as much as I thought, and that they're having a distaste for the Phillies right at the moment. If that's
right.
As I put, let's see what the temperature of the fans are, and nobody's answering. So maybe that means that they're.
Well, you know what, John, and Lauren too. I think Brandon Marsh is a fan favorite.
Well, right.
I think he is a legit fan favorite. I see it in spring training. Everything he does is fan related. He doesn't turn down an autograph. He's there taking, photos, giving away, his batting practice bats. I've seen it all. I see it all. And, you can't, and I don't want to get soft on the conversation, but you really root and pull for guys like that. Especially when they're scuffling and they're not doing well. He's running out every play. He's very aggressive on the base paths. If he could only hit a little bit more, you know what I mean? If he could hit, man, could you imagine him 250, 260? Doing the things that he does and can do.
Oh yeah,
and having we wouldn't be having this.
Right. Having him down at the bottom of the order as well, with him and Stott, because they give you the good at bats most times. I mean, they may, they may not succeed every time as much as we want, but they give you decent at bats for the most part. I mean, look at him. He stepped up and had the walk off the other night.
Yeah.
Against the guy throwing 100 miles an hour, and so it's just a. It's tough. You need that bottom of the order, to produce, to give the spark to the team.
It's funny because they get this close, right?
Right.
They get this close, right? And then, Weston Wilson disappears, right? And Rojas, well, enough said about him. You know what I mean? And then, Marshy gets hurt yesterday.
Right, he was really swinging the bat pretty good.
He was. That's exactly where I was going, and then it's like you got to set him down, and I'm like, man, we can't catch a break, know. But Marshy is that guy. He's very. I mean, he's the type of guy you could see him anywhere, any part of the day, and it wouldn't be an inconvenience for anything. He would talk to you, autographs, photo op, whatever. He's just that kind of guy.
And Marsh may be getting the votes is because maybe the guys are voting too much and they're jealous that he's better looking and their wives like him better than them. He's a fan favorite with the women, so.
Well, whatever. Whatever. I look at, I look at the whole package, you know what I mean? And I saw him 2 years ago down in spring training. Somebody asked him, something about, one of their family members was, having some issues with cancer. And he's like, get him on the phone. And she stared at him, and she got the person on the phone and
took her into the dugout, right?
And took the time to talk to her, gave her a personalized game used bat. And I just, how can you not pull for a guy like that?
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. I'm hoping it's just another one of those just bad times in the season, and they just don't get too far below, the Mets, for second place and the wild card spot. And, Yeah, he would be a great guest, Matthew. He'd be an awesome guest.
Yeah.
He'd be a good guy. He would. And
Has he done any public signings?
I don't know that he has. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know that he has.
What do you think is with these guys? And I take that to like a Jason Kelsey type person where they seem to have such big personalities. They seem to really enjoy interacting with the fans, but then they don't do signings where they can come out and meet them.
I think a lot of it is their agents. I think a lot of it, and I could be totally wrong. But I just know my interactions with some of them, they just, for whatever reason, maybe the money's not big enough. I can't think that's the issue. I mean, between Jason, Kelsey and Brandon Marsh, two totally different players. But
right.
Throw Chase Utley into it. Chase never wanted to do it either.
Yeah.
Well, now I suppose he can't turn down the money.
So, it's weird. It's a weird business. It always has been. It's just weird. It's weird. And now you factor in Fanatics, who has taken control of just about everything, and you lump it all together, and here's what you got. Be happy with it. Be happy that they'll do a private signing, or just be happy with it. So
Matthew here says that he did. He got him 2 years ago at a mall.
Oh, okay. All right. There you go.
Nice.
Yeah. Bohm is John's guy. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Deep down inside, he is John's guy. But anyway,
you're absolutely right.
We got to like Joe Stinger said, it's a bump in the road. They just need to fix some of these potholes. They just need to straighten out these bumps and get things back in where they belong. I mean, the pitching, I can't remember in my lifetime, having all this great pitching on the team and losing games like this 2-1, 5-4, So
I'm so glad to see that your blood pressure has come down from the weekend.
Yeah, it was pretty high. I had to hit the medicine cabinet when I got home to get the blood pressure down, because I was not happy. It just, aside from all the puddles that I stepped in and all the wet clothes and whatnot, the 50th anniversary Miller Lights, were special, but I thought it was a Pittsburgh thing, but now Shawnee had to ruin my party. They're available at the bank too. So
why would it have been a Pittsburgh thing?
I don't know. I just thought it was
cool.
I just thought it was something cool that they came up with, and Shawnee had to ruin it. So,
well, blame Shawnee for that.
Yeah, exactly.
We had 3 intense therapy sessions here at the store.
Oh, Johnny.
We had some good fireworks. We got to get like a video camera to record in here that we can, do like the Kelseys and do the.
You know what? I should have recorded him over the weekend, because all the nice flowers he just gave Brandon Marsh, I'm pretty certain at one point during one of the games, he leaned over to me and said, "You believe we traded Logan O'Hoppe for this bum?" And now all of a sudden,
wait, whoa. I give flowers, I take flowers back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, see that just like me and Bohm. It's like you say stuff because you care.
I just
like your mom holding the umbrella in that photo with the Phillies.
It's called frustration. It's called being a Phillies fan. It's called whatever you want.
All right.
You know what I mean?
We know there's more in there, and that's what we want out.
What didn't he get hurt? Did I see that recently? Something happened
last night. Yeah. sliding into second base. Yeah. Right. And now when that accident happened,
it was, and then Dansby Swanson, with the swipe tag, hit him on the elbow, and he seems to be. He was available today. They said for pinch hitting if he needed to. So hopefully, he's just day to day. Tomorrow they had the day off, so hopefully he'll be back out there in the lineup if needed.
Yep.
So against
All right. So what else? Was so exciting over the weekend in Pittsburgh that you would like to share with the fans?
Me? In
Yeah.
regards to what? Your commentary or what we did?
Either or.
Well, the lunch with the Penn State alum was by far the best, was the highlight of the weekend for me.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, I wish we had some better photos from that experience. But it's just one that will sort of just live on, forever for me specifically. I don't really talk about Penn State all that often. It kind of naturally comes up in conversation every now and again, but I'm not really one of those in-your-face Penn Staters. So when, Bill Kant sits down next to me and he has a larger-than-life personality, you really have no choice but to chat with him because he's not going to take no for an answer. So that was fun. And just the way it came together, he was so confused on why we were there. We were confused on why we were there.
Yeah, we didn't know why we're there either.
Yeah, and to try to explain to him that we know Tony, UPS driver Tony, not Anthony, my husband Tony, and we know Tony. He invited us. So you guys came in the van with Tom. No, we didn't drive in the van. We're here separate. The three of us came. How long have you known Tom? We don't know Tom. We just met Tom 10 minutes ago. I mean, it was, he was a great guy. I had a blast talking to him and, just kind of reliving some Penn State stuff that you kind of forget about. You kind of move on. I mean, I graduated in 2012, so that feels like an eternity ago, feels like 7 lifetimes ago. But it was fun to just chat with those guys. And just hear about their experiences and stories and things that they'd been to that I also experienced as a Penn Stater. So for me, that was the highlight.
Yeah, and it was really cool because like one story led to another because he's Bill's very in your face, funny and he was in Greg Garrity's face the whole time. And what came out of the conversation was that Greg's son played at Penn State the same time Lauren was in school there. It was like I think a 1-year difference, maybe.
Yeah.
And Bill was like, and he couldn't catch either. It was just, it was constantly back and forth. They lived 15 minutes apart, and you can just imagine. The wives are down the other end of the table doing their thing, looking at an old yearbook or an old picture.
It was a scrapbook, I think, that Tom had made. I think they were just happy to get rid of their husbands for a few hours, honestly, because the two of them together must be. I mean, it's a hoot, but after a while, that's got to be. I don't know how Bill can talk and run on that kind of energy.
Yeah.
But
that was a good. I'm not going to say start to the trip, but it was a good part of the trip that day because from there we went over to the brewery. The brewery.
That's when the rain started.
And then
that's when the rain started.
So I mean, no, that was a good experience. And
hey, how about the drunk guy Friday night in the bar? I wonder how he's feeling.
Yeah, I mean, there was an experience that was after the Friday night game or Saturday night game.
I've never experienced a drunk person like that. I mean, he just wanted to fight someone. That's all he wanted to do. He was ready to go.
And he was a Pirates fan, and they were winning, but he was hammered. He was, and of all people, he wants to pick a fight with UPS Tony. He's just standing there minding his own business, and there goes, Cheryl takes off her jacket and
because she's ready. I mean, she's ready to go before Tony even realizes what's happening.
Yeah.
But a man who he was sitting next to got up and left, and so I went to take the bar stool, and he shooed me away and was like, "No, he's coming back." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I'm sorry. He left nothing. So are you sure of that? Because all of his belongings are gone. His drink is gone. He paid his bill. Everything is gone. I don't think you even knew him, but okay." And then after that interaction, he just became fixated on us. And wanted to fight Tony. I said loudly to our group, do you think he knows his friend's not coming back? And he turns and he goes, I can hear you. But I mean, most of the stuff he said was incoherent. He mumbled a lot to himself. And then he got into it with another fan to his right. And that's kind of when like security and the bartenders kind of got involved and escorted him outside. And the next thing you knew, he was back through the door again, ready to just rip someone's head off.
No.
So yeah, and also, if you've ever been to Pittsburgh, this happened at the Soho bar right across the street from the stadium. It is the most low key, chill bar. I mean, Anthony and I enjoy going there because they don't have really loud music. There's not a million people. You can normally always find a seat. So it's just a nice, like, chill spot. So for this to happen there is just hysterical because stuff like that doesn't happen there. It's a place where, like, older fans will go after the game's over. So that was funny. That was entertaining. I hope he's feeling okay.
And the cops came and they shoot him away and told him to get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Yep. And then the next day after we went to see the NFL countdown sign that the league put in there for the countdown for the draft in Pittsburgh next year. We were walking towards the stadium. Not to be super gross, but there was just a huge pile of puke on the ground. And I thought maybe that was that guy.
I was going to say, that was him.
So, yeah, it was good. That was probably the coolest. Oh, well, Jim Rucker.
Jim Rooker. Walked back from Philly.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool. Very, very cool. He loved the photo.
The photo.
Yeah, loved the photo. Had to have one. Couldn't believe I was going to give him one. I'm like, absolutely. I said, give it to Joe. Make sure Joe, doesn't lose it. But no, he loved us. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was a good day. The street festival on Saturdays is always really well done, and it was nice weather, so that was a lot of fun. I mean, there was 1 million Phillies fans.
Yeah.
So Jim never saw that photo before, or
apparently not.
He claimed he'd never seen it. He's like, where did you get this?
Yeah.
We're like, on the internet. Everything's on the internet.
Yeah. Right.
We'll have him at the store. We'll get him to travel to.
I don't know where he lives. I don't know if he's local to Pittsburgh or if they had to make arrangements to get him there.
Yeah. Yeah, he'd be good. Because he was telling me the story and I really couldn't hear him because it was so loud, but he was, do you remember that? Do you remember that? And I'm like, yeah, kind of, sort of, he goes, I made a fool of myself.
Yeah, but he raised a good bit of money for it.
Yeah, he turned it into something really cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but he was good.
I could see John Kruk doing something like that, saying something stupid during a broadcast, and
does it every night.
Yeah, he's the best. And then making good on it later on.
Speaking of that, did anybody catch the game last night with the 4 announcers up in the section 201? I think it was. As Kruk would say, high above, much higher than the heights I like.
Yeah, I was going to say he seemed to be really nervous. I mean, he
was very cloudy. He doesn't. Well, I think there he's inside a box and he doesn't feel open and he's going to fall over the rail, and he didn't look comfortable all night long.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
So, but that was cool. Tom McCarthy plays that part of catching hot dogs, catching baseballs, having the bullpen guys throw him up baseballs.
Yeah, he even had Rojas throw a ball. Yeah,
and then he's got this cool ass Victus glove that his son Tommy made for him because he's now in charge of the Victus glove division at Victus, obviously. Just a cool ass, colorful glove. And, had it on all night, kept pounding it in. And he's like, I almost got it broken in. We're almost there.
Yeah. And Crocker keeps busting his chops. That's not broken in.
Right. Yeah. And then you had Ruben there and you had Ben Davis there. And, you just had 4 totally different personalities.
Oh, yeah.
Four. And then, then they invite Jason Kelsey to the show. And that just that just added a whole bunch more of fun to the night. He brings a whole bucket of garage beer. John goes, "Are we allowed to drink tonight?" So it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
It was really good. Shame they couldn't muster up a win, but they did win the series, which
there we go
is a solid plus. So, now who comes into town? Toronto, right? Yep. Toronto for the weekend.
Yep.
So we owe them a little bit of a butt kicking from the way they handled us last week. So
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what else about Pittsburgh? That's my second or third time going? I
think it's your third.
Yeah, because the first time we took Mom with us.
And that was like pre-COVID. That was like 2017, 2018, something like that.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the three of us went last year.
Yep.
And then this year, of course.
Yep.
It's a lot of walking. it's a lot of, I'll be there. I'll catch up.
Yeah.
Don't worry about me. I'm right here. I mean, let me just get over this 4-foot puddle. God damn it! I never saw so much rain in all my life.
Yeah.
We got out.
It's funny because for me, it rained, but I didn't think it rained that much. But
we got out of the truck at that brewery. Oh my God! I mean,
it was pouring. Yeah,
I thought the river was going to overflow out back.
But then it cleared up just as quick as it came on, and that was it.
And that was it. Yep. Go in, have a couple beers, and just wait for the sun to come out.
And it did.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, it was good. It really was. It was a good time. Good time. Is that right? Alcohol makes everything better? That's what Mom's giving me in the background.
Thursday night, waiting out that rain delay that we weren't even anticipating being at that game was fun. Yep. That bartender that was buying us drinks, that was the first.
Yep.
I've never experienced that before.
Yeah, I was like, wow, what'd we do?
Right.
What'd we do? All right, couple things real quick before we lose total control of the night. I just
it's 7:18, and you're worried about that now?
Well, I just I didn't know everybody's plans. I just wanted to touch base on a couple of things, but obviously I lost my page. But
do you put notes in your phone?
I did tonight, only because I was too lazy to write them down. So moving on off of the Phillies and their winning streak and losing streak, the Eagles, their OTAs are over. I found it interesting that I read a comment. I did not know that A.J. Brown was living locally now. He's made South Jersey his home. And he was looking for a quarterback that he could practice with every day, somebody that could throw to him. And he made this public on social media.
Yeah.
And I thought that was knowing AJ a little bit, I just found that he came out public with that. What I mean? He's going to have all these 8th graders, wanting to throw footballs at him, But I thought that
he even mentioned that, didn't he? That I don't want any fans that they're just coming to want to hang out.
Right, exactly. So I just I thought that was cool. I on a couple of accounts because I didn't know that AJ was making South Jersey his permanent home. And he was staying local, and apparently he goes out, and again, maybe he's taking a page out of Jason Kelsey's book, and he's becoming more personable and not the shy guy that everybody thinks he is.
Right.
Or maybe he's read another book. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, but interesting comment from him on that. One that I wish I could make is Friday night, June 27th. It's draft night for the Flyers, and they've got a big event down in Atlantic City at the Hard Rock. It's a big, draft night party. Rick Tocchet, the new coach, is going to be there. I think Mark Recchi's going to be there. A couple other former former Flyers are going to be there. So I think that's, pretty cool that, they're doing something like that, kind of like what the Eagles do, on draft night and put a big party together kind of thing. So I just thought, pretty cool. UPS.
Why is that something that you can attend?
Well, because it's the day before we leave for vacation.
Uh-huh.
So
what's your point?
Well, Johnny's going to Florida.
Oh, Johnny's going. There we go. You buried the lead.
I didn't want to bury Johnny. I mean,
I don't think saying John's not in town buries the throws him under the bus. I just was asking.
Yeah, he slipped that in on me. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to Florida right before you're going on vacation.
Well,
anyway,
if you need, I can always find somebody to be Jen's, +1 for the wedding. I mean,
no, not at all.
I'm surprised you haven't already found that, John.
I'm not going to be that guy.
You're going to go to Florida at the end of June, and a man who doesn't like heat?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Is the wedding outside?
I hope not, but if it was like the wedding that we had to go to many years ago in Pittsburgh, it was hot as hell. I think we went. It was literally hell Pittsburgh that we went to, and in the church they didn't turn the air conditioner on because of course they couldn't turn the air conditioner on for the church, and
they probably didn't have one.
I think they did, but they just didn't. I don't know. But I pulled my pants up. I'm in the aisle. I had my pants pulled up over my knees, and just to try to stay cool while I'm sitting in the thing. Yeah. I'm like a 2-year-old when it comes to getting dressed up.
Godspeed, Johnny.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Last but not least, before we hit the two hottest subjects of the hour. I've been out of the loop. Is there a good rumor floating around about the Sixers? Is there anything? Is there anything floating around? I mean, I'm not hearing a thing.
I don't think so. I haven't heard anything, but
they still haven't given us an update on Joel Embiid, so that means he's going to be out for the year. So
he's going to have a maintenance season.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. He's, they haven't given an update, so I don't know after the surgery, which is kind of they were supposed to after like.
So he officially had surgery.
That's what they said. Yeah, they haven't said what they did in the surgery, whether it was just a clean out or whether they just found that it was chronic knee issues that he's going to have the rest of his time, and they don't want to throw that out there and wait until the people buy season tickets first before they announce that.
All right.
So
that's all I got.
Yeah.
That's all I got. So I'll turn it to you two guys for Lauren's layups and John's rants. So
Johnny, you go first.
All right. So we got the rants. It's today's partly Rojas, but mostly the Phillies bullpen.
I should have saved my popcorn. I'm all out.
I know you need a popcorn. You need a popcorn.
The way you chewed through the whole show.
Yeah, it's gone.
You
I ate it all.
through the whole show.
No, I didn't. It's gone. It's empty.
Well, you may have time to go pop another bag.
No, it's all right.
Yeah, this bullpen is going to be the death of us all Phillies fans this year. Like you had said when you guys were out there in Pittsburgh, obviously the Friday night game, you had a bullpen game, which wasn't. It ended up being not too bad. I mean, they only gave up 5 runs, but for the full game, and then two great pitching performances after that, and then the bullpen blows it both days, and and then now today, Jose Hernandez gets let go and DFA'd, and which is fine, but what do you bring back? Michael Mercado? He's got a 5+ ERA in AAA, and we've already seen his little act when he was here last year.
He looked good though today in the 9th inning.
Yeah, it's a 7-1 game, 7-2 game. I mean,
trying to stay positive.
I know, but still, it's this team is going to. once this team's is gonna falter because of the bullpen down the stretch, and they need to make some major moves in that bullpen.
So we can blame it all on Alvarado.
Well, I mean, it's like we were talking today. I mean, unfortunately, since he's gone, they don't have that guy that can lock it down. Even though he was a little shaky himself at times, but for the most part, he got the job done. That's what they need. And if John Middleton's not going to spend the money to get an extra guy in here to replace him, because obviously Alvarado's not going to be here in the playoffs. It's going to be a tough thing, because we've seen how Jordan Romano struggles when it's a close game there.
Where did the David Robertson comments go? They seem to have gone away.
Okay, he kind of went away. I mean, it's like, how can an organization have Michael Mercado as the only guy they can pull up from AAA, or AA? They don't have somebody that can throw strikes, throw 95 plus miles an hour. I just don't understand it in today's world.
Whose fault is that, John?
Drafting. It's obviously by this time, Dombrowski has some say in that some of his guys could have made it up through the system at this point. But this is also the Clintack and McPhail, still reaping the unrewards of the way they've destroyed the farm system all those years, and not having guys coming up. We've had a couple of guys come up through the system, and there's not enough to replenish. And so I mean, Dave doesn't have his hands aren't clean as well on that.
Well, do they draft pitchers nowadays to be relief pitchers? I mean, is that a thing? How did Kirkering become a relief pitcher?
No, some of them are. Yeah, I mean, they obviously might be starters. In the major leagues. I mean, Paul Skeens was a closer in LSU for the most. I don't know if he had some starting experience as well, but he was the closer when it came to they're doing their runs in the College World Series. I think they have guys that are coming up, and whether or not they draft them as starters, but then their first year or two that they get them. The one thing that the Phillies had been doing, I know when I was going to a lot of the games, that the guys would pitch as a starter and as a reliever. Bailey Falter was one, type of things throughout the years. And
well, look at going back a few years with the Phillies. Ryan Matson. You had Brett Myers.
Yeah.
You had a number of guys that kind of went out of the bullpen in the starting rotation. You had it. And I just, I don't get it. I mean, I think it's still doable today, but
they've done it with Ranger, just recently.
Yeah. Well, that was his rookie year, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's usually how they get the guys to come up,
right?
As to get their feet wet, be a closer. And unfortunately, they don't want to do that with Andrew Painter because of having the Tommy John surgery. I don't think they want to put a little extra stress on him, which I can understand. Keep him in his routine and stuff. But God, you got to be able to have somebody. I don't know. It's just because the other guy that you brought up, the Angel guy that came and pitched Friday when you guys were there.
Yeah, in the bullpen game.
He came up. I mean, he was nervous. It was his major league debut when you guys saw him pitch, and he was in a 4-2 game, and boom, two batters later, the game's tied. And then he settled down, and, pitched a couple of good innings, but then he's gone. And then Seth Johnson, they brought him up, and he pitched well, and and then he's sent back down after one out, and there's got to be something because without having the bullpen, your offense is struggling obviously, but when they do get the runs, they get ahead and they got a lead. You got pitchers starting pitching, doing well. Like I said to you, today, and you don't feel easy at all. At this time of the year right now, the way the bullpen's going, that unless you have a 7-2 lead, that you're going to worry about, not worry about winning. And good baseball teams don't have those issues.
All right.
There you go.
Lauren?
Did you feel that was a sufficient rant, Dad?
Yeah, no, I got 3 days of it, so
Well, I can only imagine what you gave him from being in Pittsburgh. So.
Oh yeah, we were going around. We had a lot of good ones.
You guys had a lot of catching up to do.
Oh yeah, there was a lot. It was, if these walls could talk.
Well, I will say that Pittsburgh has continued its winning ways, Dad. So maybe it wasn't a fluke.
Yeah, they won again, didn't they? Yep.
I mean, they are playing the Marlins, but you never know with that team. So a lot of people are giving credit to that manager. That
Don
whatever,
Kelly.
yeah, whatever new system he's got, or that the guys are just, playing for him. So
That you get that little jump, initially right off the bat, because the players get a little wake up call, like, oh shit,
yeah.
we just got the
It's been a
fire.
while. I mean, they got rid of Derek Shelton, the end of April?
Yeah, the end of April. So yeah, I mean it's
Yeah. And so, I mean, they won a couple games right out of the gate, like you said, but then they kind of, tampered off a little bit. But I don't know.
By no means am I straying, out west, but they've got some nice pieces on that team.
Yeah.
There really are some nice pieces.
Mhm.
I don't, they got a young catcher, Henry Davis. If he can ever get his head out of his ass,
That ain't going to happen.
he could be a nice player. Cruz is another one. I mean, he just looks so damn lethargic when he walks to the plate. His at-bats are horrendous. I'm like, what's up with this guy?
yeah. And if you don't see the highlights, of him hitting those 123 mile an hour balls,
exactly.
River. Like especially when he played the Phillies, he struck out like 15 times over the 6 games that he's played the Phillies.
Yep.
And half the time he doesn't even take the bat off his shoulder. It almost makes Rojas look like a superstar. And that, in some of those at bats, But
Anthony be proud of us with all this Pittsburgh talk.
He would be.
He'd be proud of us.
Yeah.
All right. How's our layup looking?
Good. So this is going to be an interesting one, and this is really out of left field for you guys. But this solely came to me because when I came home from work, I turned the TV on and Space Jam was on.
Oh boy.
So then that got me thinking. And originally my question was going to be, what's your favorite sports movie of all time? But we'll save that for another show, so you'll have time to think about that. So then my question turned to, there's so much talk about who is the GOAT. Is it Michael Jordan or is it LeBron James? So I need you guys to weigh in. Who's the greatest of all time? Is it Michael Jordan or is it LeBron James? Now, this is obviously coming from the original Space Jam Michael Jordan is in and the remake LeBron James is in. So that just making that connection.
The GOAT, the greatest of all time for me, because I watched him for many years, is Michael Jordan.
Okay.
I just,
All right, Matthew.
Hands
Wilt
down.
was not an option.
What's
It's
that?
Michael Jordan. Wilt wasn't an option. It's Michael Jordan or LeBron James. I appreciate the honorable mention, but you got to pick one.
I said Michael Jordan.
I know, but Matthew Peterson did not. He said Wilt.
Oh, no. Well, yeah, that's his guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you only gave me 2. I'd be all over Will as well.
Okay, so if it's not Jordan and it's not LeBron, is it Wilt?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
100%. 100 points. I mean, he was the big man amongst
he was playing against 5'3" guys. The guy was 7 foot tall. Come on, stop.
100 points, man. 100 points.
And then he drove back to New York with them after putting 100 points on those guys. No, I have to agree with your dad on this one with Michael Jordan. I mean, just because of the error that
we even got Sean chiming in on this one.
I know he's hands down as well with Jordan.
Man, this is this is like we should go to Atlantic City and throw some money in.
Yeah, it's just the LeBron James has done a lot. Don't get me wrong. But it's a different era of basketball because he's able to build his teams and get when he went to Miami, took the big three down there to Miami and to win, not one, not two, not three, not four, championships. And
looks like you woke up the crowd with the layup, Lauren.
Yeah.
The flop is LeBron.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just a different time because Michael Jordan got abused, when he was playing physically.
But so many great teams.
Oh, yeah.
So many great Chicago Bulls teams. You know what I mean? And, I mean, I get the whole LeBron thing. He bopped back and forth between Cleveland, out to L.A., Miami. It just, like John said, it's a different brand. But
yeah, I mean, of course, everybody's gonna be like, oh well, Michael Jordan had Scottie Pippen, which he did, and Dennis Rodman, but it wasn't forced, like or like said, hey, let's all go to.
And also, how do you know how good those guys would have been without Jordan?
Well, right. No, you're right.
I mean, there's a give and take there.
Oh no, of course, but you had three guys, that were already established in the league decide to go. Let's go to Miami and build a super team down there and do what they did, and which is all fine, fine and good, but I just don't know. I mean, LeBron's a beast himself as well, as physical as he is. I'm sure he would have been able to take the beating as well, during the times that the good teams were in basketball.
I'll throw a wrench in the whole thing. I'll take Kobe over LeBron any day.
Yeah, that's a.
I'll take the Black Mamba all day long.
Okay.
Over LeBron, because I think him and Shaq had their differences, but let me tell you, those two could play.
Oh yeah.
How about Kobe over Jordan?
No.
Okay.
There's nobody over Jordan.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I mean it's Kobe was a factor.
Even Jordan's fishing boat is badass. He got it all. He got it all going on.
The elephant stripes wasn't it the elephant skin?
He got. Oh my God, he got it all going on. But no, I appreciate LeBron. I appreciate the effort, but I don't appreciate all the Hollywood that comes along with it.
But isn't that current athletes in a nutshell these days?
Yeah, but it seems like he takes it to the next level. You know what I mean? Takes it to the next level. Everything's the coach's fault. Everything's the referee's fault. Everything's the fault of the others except me. He takes no responsibility.
Well,
that and plus the other thing too is what you got to give him credit for as well. But for LeBron, he's got a longer career than Michael Jordan.
Right.
And to put up the stats, obviously. Oh well, yeah, he's got the most points. He's got this, whatever. Yeah, but he's played, more time, and and then even in the playoffs too. There's more rounds of the playoffs now versus before. So it's harder to.
Yeah,
we woke up the crowd,
apples to apples.
We woke up the crowd. You shook them up, and you got them coming every which way. AI over LeBron. Oh my God.
Yeah. AI over LeBron.
Yeah, you got it. It's coming down.
Yeah, Shawnee, I don't know about that one.
It's coming down. I don't know. AI in that LA series. Oh my God.
Yeah, but that's it. That's the only one.
I know, but that's all you need. That's
no,
all you need.
Stop.
Well, but see, Allen Iverson didn't have.
He had no cast.
He had no cast any of the years, really. I mean, that was the only.
He's
year.
Only 4'2".
Right. Exactly.
He did just turn 50.
Yeah.
And he's throwing himself a big ass party.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah.
To be a fly on the wall at that place.
It's 50 the year that he got the Reebok money.
I think you know what? I think you might be right.
But yeah, no, I mean it's definitely LeBron's, you got to give him credit for what he's doing, in today's basketball, but not to sound like an old fart or whatever, but yeah, I mean it's different back then, and
Yeah.
AI's definitely got a good shot at being up there as well, along with Kobe. I mean,
He just didn't like practicing. That's all. Let's
right,
face it.
exactly.
No practice. Practice.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, like you said, he went 48 minutes. He played he did everything he could to make the team win. Being as small as he was, he got beat up every day, pounded onto the floor, got back up, and he never cried like LeBron does, if he got beat up like that. So yeah, it's
I would agree, and yes to everything both of you have said, but there's also just something about the guy who sort of does it first for me that always kind of takes the GOAT status, regardless of who comes after that.
And that's the LeBron or the Michael Jordan versus Kobe argument right there, as well.
I mean, it's he's sort of the first one that kind of really made basketball what it was in a sense.
All right. So we woke up the board. So we got homework assignment, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
For next week. So let's put our what do they call that? The
marquee.
The Hollywood scene, with what's that called? Come on, help the old man out.
I need a few more vowels, Vanna. I don't know what you're trying to say.
All right, give me your statues. The four
Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore.
Give me your Mount Rushmore.
Not Hollywood.
Yeah, isn't it in Hollywood?
No,
yeah, it's out in L.A.
Mount Rushmore, is it?
No, where is it? How come they always show it when the Dodgers are playing and all that?
No, they show it's a Hollywood sign. That's not Mount Rushmore.
Anyway, homework assignment. Give me your four on the Mount Rushmore of the NBA.
Well, when we do the on our page the follow up for tonight, that'll be our people will interact that way. They answer the question when we ask about Michael Jordan and LeBron, who's the GOAT.
Right.
And then give us your Mount Rushmore.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. So that way we'll have an update on next week.
We'll talk about it next week.
Yep, exactly.
Angel Reese better than LeBron. Tom Canine, he's hitting him hard tonight.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can see he's a big LeBron fan.
Yeah, real big.
LeBron doesn't crack the top 10. I mean, what are these guys smoking?
Well, see, it's one of those things though. Like everybody who wants to look at the stats are going to say, of course, LeBron. If you're just looking at stats,
which that's what you look at, right?
Well, yes and no. I mean, yes, you can, but it's just a matter of, how can you just use stats alone if somebody's played 6 years more worth of games than another person, and say, oh, well, he scored more points, so he's got to be the better person. Or
no, I understand that. I mean, all that aside, if you look at championships, all-star appearances, MVPs, that stuff, I mean, Michael Jordan is still ahead of LeBron, even though he's played longer. I know, LeBron has 50,000 points, the most in the league. But I mean,
now we know Tom's really doesn't like, because we know he doesn't like gritty.
Yeah, Tom, you hate gritty. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, right. It's just a little bit different. Like I said, it's hard to compare apples and apples, like you're saying.
Right.
It's just a matter of, because everybody wants to say, oh, well, he's got more points than Michael Jordan. Okay, great, because he played. Michael Jordan didn't miss 3 years playing basketball or whatever it was. or playing baseball, he'd be, might be a different story.
Honestly, the thing that takes the cake is that the Space Jam with Michael Jordan is a trillion times better than the Space Jam with LeBron James.
I was going to lead with that. I said just basing it off of the
That's
Space
all that
Jam.
matters.
That's all you had to do is just look at the Space Jam movie, and that tells you who's better right there.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Great show. Real quick, shout out to Coach Steve Swoop, Stick, as we know him from Clearwater. He's the guy down in the picnic section. Talk about having fun. That guy lives off of having fun every day of the week. So shout out to him. Stopped at the store yesterday. Made the truck up here to Philly to see his Fighting Phils and stop by the store. Him and his wife, Ann. Just very honored for that. So kudos to them. I hope they had a great trip and they have a safe ride back to Colonial Beach. And with all that, we missed Anthony tonight, but I think we represented him well.
I would agree.
I think he would be proud.
Yep.
So we're back at it. We're back at it next Wednesday, but in between that, we got Father's Day on Sunday. So let's not forget the big guy.
Happy Father's Day to both of you.
Thank you.
like you've ever been forgotten.
I know. I just clear my throat. That's all. I'm out of water.
You needed some water.
I'm out of water.
It was that spicy mustard that we had. That's why my throat was a little bit.
Yeah, I can't handle that, John. I can't handle the spicy. I love the Philly pretzels, but that spicy mustard gotta go. Gotta go.
It was only that was a good spicy hot mustard. I like it. I like it that way too. But yeah, it was spicier than I thought it was.
All right. Anything else?
No, I mean we got half a spicy mustard story, but it's fine.
Well, Johnny brings Philly pretzels in almost every day. Almost.
Really? I've never. John, you don't bring them when I'm there?
And you still come on Saturday.
Well, you're there on Saturdays, so
some days I eat them, some days I don't.
Yes.
So I'm there on Saturdays, and you protest Saturday pretzels?
He does not bring them on Saturday because we get scrapple sandwiches in honor of Stick, because Stick's a big scrapple guy.
We do Bocelli, so and plus it's
we're watching our carbs in our old age.
Yes, exactly. You got
by eating pretzels every day, but Saturday.
Wait a sec. I might be guilty of one pretzel, maybe, and I don't always go in the bag, but I always ask first.
All right. So he brings spicy mustard, and you don't like it? Is that what you're getting at?
Too spicy.
Well, I think your dad likes the spicy brown, like if it was a Golden's, but this one's
over the top.
Yeah.
Over the top.
Pretzels are 5-star though.
Oh yeah, that mustard had a little bit extra horseradish in
it. Yeah, a whole lot of horseradish in it. No red Solo cup. I'm hydrating tonight. Yep. Hydrating. Yep. All right. With all that, great show, guys. Thank you. Don't forget to check out Carl's Cards for all your holiday Father's Day needs. We got a lot of new merch. We got a lot of old merch. We got a lot of the same merch. So come on in.
Yeah, I'll get some photos of that stuff.
Yeah, right. Yep. That's Johnny's department.
Uh-huh. Yep.
He takes the best photos. I tell him that all the time. Hint.
He takes the best frame them up Friday photos. I'll agree with you on that.
100%. He takes the best photos all time.
Yeah.
All right, guys, gals, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. We close out this show with a happy Father's Day to you, all of you. Have a great night, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.